My name is Joe Barr and I'm a world endurance cyclist, and today we're going to actually take you for a 25-minute cycle. The first thing that we need to get is to get your bike out of the shed. It's been a long winter. Have a quick look at it. So just check that both the tires are inflated. If you've got a front and a rear light, make sure that they're switched on even in the daytime, because it just helps the other road users. Just before you go out, just give the brakes a quick check to make sure that cables aren't seized, and check that the gears are working. Last thing, make sure you have one of these on. Okay, here we go. This is us setting off on this beautiful day in Northern Ireland. It's been a long winter and we've been all indoors with lots of rain and cold. And here we are in the sunshine. Looks absolutely gorgeous today, so we're going to go for this little 25-minute ride. Out onto the main road here. We just got to make sure there's no traffic coming. A little bit of a headwind today, but it's beautiful up here. Oh, it is. You know, on your very first day when you get back out on the road, you've been in all winter, you tend to just forget. You've maybe been on your home trainer a little bit, you've been watching TV maybe. You've got to remember there's a lot of traffic on the road today, and just got to bring a little bit of awareness to that there's traffic out there. It's a little bit windy today, as you can see. A little bit of a chill in the air. My goodness, it's so good to get out on the road. Dry roads today as well. Not too much of the standing water that we've been used to for so long. This road very gradually goes up through the trees, so it does. Beautiful in through the forest here. So it is. As you can see in here, a lot of traffic, so keep the awareness. You know, I'm the same. With the weather being so bad, we haven't been able to get out. So we've been doing a lot of work in the indoor trainer. I'm sure you've all used one at some stage. Well, it's very different being out on the road, simply because you can move around a lot. And one of the things that people get caught in when they come out for the first time, they tend not to use the gears on the bike, being used sitting on the trainer or not at all. And one of the things that's important is to use the gears on the bike, because if you don't, I sometimes see people where they go out and it's a bit like a crashed plane, you know, like an airplane who crashes into the mountain. A bit like they don't actually ride it, they just stop in it. And a lot of the time, that's because the gear is too big. So make sure that you use a gear that allows you to be comfortable on the climb. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how fast you go over it. So it doesn't. It matters that you can get up it. And you know, going on from that, the other thing is you gotta be so careful to make sure that your bike has the position set correctly on it. There's nothing as bad as not being comfortable. So making sure the saddle's level, seats at the right height, handlebars are at the right reach, Small things like that make an awful lot of difference as to how you actually enjoy your ride. And let's face it, the more that you actually enjoy it, the more you're going to want to do it. This last year, in this pandemic, in this situation that everyone has found themselves in, has brought an awful lot of people to be kept indoors and not actually being able to exercise, but more importantly, losing the will to want to do it and just feeling not so good. And the good thing about riding a bike is you don't actually need to feel that good to go out, but after you've been out you will feel good, and that's the absolute key part of what we're trying to encourage you to do today. It's one of the most difficult things is to actually start to get on the bike and go out. Nearly everyone's got a bike line in the garage. It doesn't have to be a fancy bike, it doesn't need to be expensive, you don't need to have a lot of fancy clothes, a pair of trainers and a pair of track bottoms, jacket, and off you go. Make sure you got the helmet on though. That's a key part. We're in beautiful County Down today, so we are, and I have to say I love it down here. It makes you feel alive. We're up here in the middle of this beautiful forest. Climbing up, and we're going to go up and then in by the Spilgy Dam. It's beautiful up here. I can't believe after all the rain we've had, the cold weather, that there's a day like this today in February. It's beautiful. You know, I race all over the world, everywhere. I've rode across America 3 times. On a day like today, there's nowhere like Northern Ireland to ride a bike. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's so much user-friendly. You pick nice roads, you go for a ride on, quiet, enjoyable. Last year, my team and myself took on a world record, and we rode from Malin Head, the most northerly in Northern Ireland, we rode from Malin Head, the most northerly part, to Mizzen Head, the most southerly part, and back again non-stop. It took me 44 hours to do it. That's a new world record. So if you think about only doing one half of one of those 44 hours, how well that'll make you feel. I can assure you it's well worth the effort to get your bike out and try. And for those who got family, got kids and whatever, it's such a great experience to take kids out, to let them enjoy the freedom of riding a bike. It's the greatest section of independence in their youth as they grow up. And I got 2 little boys, and I taught both of them to ride when they were 3 years old. My older boy actually was riding when he was 2. quite a bit of wind up here today because we're so high up. But always remember as well, if you go out for a ride and it is a headwind, always remember it's going to be a tailwind home. Yesterday, I rode on the North Antrim coast yesterday for 6 hours, and I did 50 miles in the headwind and 50 miles in the tailwind, and it was lovely. This is a very beautiful section of County Down where I'm just skirting around the side of Slieve Donard now, and I'm going to turn left up into the mountain. Absolutely beautiful. I got a runny nose with all the cold wind. Today I'm riding on this beautiful bike that my sponsor Spiegel Bikes in America painted for me when I went on Race Across America in 2019. And it's the Stars and Stripes, and it's actually my very first day to ride this bike. I've looked at it sitting in the house for 6 months now, and I remember thinking, as soon as the first day of summer comes, I'm going to get this out and I'm going to ride it. And here we are, first day. And I have to say it feels pretty good actually. Just going up to a road junction here now. I'm going to be doing a left turn. And one of the things that's important as well is to just give the other road users, you know, a little bit of information and use your hand. Just put your hand out as you're going to be doing a left turn here. It always helps to let everyone else know what you're doing. So here we are. We've turned into it. Now I'm going up the steep side of Slieve Donard. Oh my goodness, I've just seen another bike rider come the other way here. Bike riders always acknowledge each other. Turned out of the wind a little bit now, like, so yeah, it's a little bit more comfortable and it's a bit easier to talk actually than it was in the wind. The clicking noise you hear, by the way, is my gear shifter. Because like we were saying before, when you come to where the road starts to go upwards, make sure you use a gear that allows you to ride comfortably up the hill. Don't try to hog a big gear up there because it's just not enjoyable doing that, and there's no need to. We always have a saying when we're getting it really, really tough in a race, there's no hill big enough that you can't walk up. In 2019, 2 years ago, Race Across America, we had a race over the Rockies, so we rode at 13,000 feet of elevation. There's not an awful lot of oxygen up there, so it's difficult to get out over the top, for sure. Certainly, this type of terrain here is a lot more enjoyable because there's still hills, but obviously lots of oxygen, which is good. Countryside here is breathtaking. You just can't help but notice everything that's beautiful about it, especially in a day like today with the sun shining. It's just gorgeous. Starting to ramp up here now, so it is like, so just gonna get it down into a really low gear and leave it there. Car coming the other way here, you gotta be careful. He sees me. Thank you. This little bit here is quite steep, so just gonna ride a low gear right over the top. Got a car coming behind here. Just gonna pass through it. Just gonna wave it on. There you go. See why there's so many people come to spend the summer days here. I'm sure you could get lost for hours and hours in those mountains walking. Always make sure as well, when you go out on your bike, you make sure you take a bottle with a little bit of drink, even just water, you know, because you dehydrate quite quickly. And for any of you that go longer than your 25 minutes, make sure you take a little something to eat with you as well. Climb is on quite a ways actually. The wind has turned around and has started blowing down the valley. actually coming near the top of the first part of this climb. So it's a real sign that spring's on its way. We got the lambs in the field today. We actually got some black ones up here as well. It's really cool. This morning I noticed all the snowdrops and the daffodils starting to come. That's spring's on its way. It's light at the end of a dark winter, that's for sure. I love the stone walls up here. Reminds me of Connemara in the west. Hey-o. Hey, old sheep. The lambs are jumping in the field today. Really good sight. People often ask me when I'm riding for days on end on the bike, I can race across America where it's 12 days and 12 nights. You know, I think the best way to explain it is, if there's one thing that this pandemic that the world has been confronted with has taught me, and that is every minute of your life counts, every last minute. You know, when you take it for granted that you just go out and do what you want, this period is time where it's been taken away from us all. You know, just being able to get out and breathe is such a privilege. It certainly has opened my eyes like to what I do, and that is, there's times in some of the big races when you actually ask yourself, you know, what am I doing here? You know, I could be at home just doing nothing, but I've really come to realize this is really living life. It really is. I have the most privileged life to be able to ride my bike around the world and see all the incredible sights that there is. It's really made me think about a lot of the sights I've already seen, and to be so grateful for that. Some of them have been pretty darn spectacular. My goodness, there's a black mama sheep. You know, I'd really like to try and encourage everyone to try and get themselves active again. And, you know, a lot of people have suffered terribly with the whole mental trauma of what has just happened. And some people have had a lot of bad experience for many different reasons. You know, it doesn't matter what you do, just try and get yourself outside, go for a walk, ride your bike, just get outside and start moving, feel a little bit better, feel alive again. take away thoughts of what being locked in has actually done to you, and that you have the opportunity to change that. Grab it with two arms. This is so beautiful. You know, we've been riding now for 24 minutes. It's just 24 minutes of bliss. It really is. First little dam here on the left side. There's a really cool river running across the road. Yep. No, just dodge around that. It's a thing to be very careful about when you're out riding your bike. You tend to get a lot of standing water here. Excessive rain that we've got. Try not to ride through large puddles of water without being clear about what's in it underneath them. Got some big craters after the bad winter. The last thing you want to do is ride through a puddle to realise that there is a crater in it and you're just lying on the ground, and that's not fun. So just be careful of what I call the lunar surface that lurks below. You know, every year I'm training and racing. I ride approximately 23,000 miles a year in training and racing. I have done that for 12 years now since I got involved in ultra racing. It's amazing to arrive at the end of the year, look back at what you actually just achieved. And what I do is at the extreme for sure, but if you set up to say that you're going to ride for 30 minutes every day, 6 days a week, 1 day off, look how far you would have rode or walked in 12 months. It's very hard to see it, but I can assure you, when you look back, it really is amazing how far you can actually travel and go. In some of the big races, when you get really fatigued and you know you've rode maybe 1,000 miles and you've maybe only had a few hours sleep, it gets to the point where you just think about the next mile. You don't really think about the next 500. It's the best way for me to describe what it's like to ride up a hill. Don't look at the horizon. It's so far away out the top of the hill. Just ride the meter or the yard that's in front of you. Bit by bit like that. It's amazing how far you can actually go just looking at that little bit in front of you. You know, since we started our little ride, we've been going uphill the whole way. We're 27 minutes in now. Uphill since we've been talking. Now, I've turned the corner and I can see the crest of the hill. I can see the top of it. But I'm not going to look at that. I'm just going to deal with a little bit that's here. And I'm going to look around and I'm going to enjoy where I am and not worry about where it is. Last year, at the end of the year, we had the opportunity to do a second world record, and we rode from the most westerly point in Ireland. It's a place called Slea Head in County Kerry. It's magnificent beyond belief in its beauty, and we travelled to the east coast, which is Wicklow Lighthouse, and back again. It's just under 500 miles. We did 28 hours, so you can always think your 28 minutes, how far you can actually go in that period of time. In the big picture, in the middle of the pandemic, being allowed to do what we were allowed to do, we set 2 world records in a bad time. So think about what you can come up with in your environment. Challenge yourself and look back on what you achieved. It's amazing. I'm 62 years old now. I never think about stopping. I love what I do. I love the next start line. I love all the miles, the stories, the memories. It's a fantastic life. All I do is ride a bicycle. I don't really do that much other than ride a bicycle. Someone recently said to me that I've made a life out of 3 triangles and 2 circles. And what they mean by that is, if you look at the frame of a bicycle, it's made up of 3 triangles and there's 2 round circles attached to it. I've made a life out of that. It's amazing. And here we are, top.